No one understands the wrath of Vladimir Putin quite like someone who's experienced it firsthand and lived to tell the tale. In May of 2023, Bill Browder wrote in Time magazine, quote, "When Russia invaded Ukraine, everyone was shocked and scared, but for me it was deeply personal. I've known Putin's murderous intent for the last 2 decades, and I know how terrible this was going to be." Browder, though, through his company, Hermitage Capital Management, was once the largest foreign investor in Russia. But in 2005, he was expelled from Russia and declared a threat to national security for exposing corruption in Russia's partially state-owned companies. His fund had invested in those companies. In 2007, Russian authorities raided Browder's offices in Moscow and took all of his documents. One of the Russian lawyers who had worked with Browder at Hermitage to expose this corruption was Sergei Magnitsky. Magnitsky helped expose the corruption, and he testified against the Russian officials involved, which landed him in jail. He was jailed for 358 days, during which he was tortured. Magnitsky died in Russian police custody. He was 37 years old. The Putin regime would hold a grudge against Browder for years. In 2013, they tried Browder in absentia on tax evasion charges. Magnitsky was also on trial more than 3 years after he had died. Russia also issued several arrest warrants for Browder through Interpol, one of which led to his brief arrest by Spanish authorities in 2018. But Browder never gave in to the threats and the intimidation. He was determined to get justice for Sergei Magnitsky. And that's where he crossed paths with Vladimir Kara-Murza, a dual Russian-British national, a political leader for Russia's pro-democracy opposition, and a vocal Putin critic. Kara-Murza and Browder worked together to lobby for the Magnitsky Act, which President Obama signed into law in 2012. That law freezes the assets and bans the visas of Russian human rights violators. Similar legislation has been enacted in 35 countries, including Canada, the UK, and the European Union. For Putin, the Magnitsky Act was an existential threat. And in 2015, Vladimir Kara-Murza was poisoned. He suffered incredible injuries, including coma and a stroke. It's a miracle that he survived, but he did, only to be poisoned again in 2017. Kara-Murza survived that poisoning, too, and against all odds, he continued to stand up to Putin. Fast forward to February of 2022, Putin launches his full-scale attack on Ukraine. Kara-Murza was a leading voice opposing the invasion. He strongly condemned what he called Russia's regime of murders. Kara-Murza was living in exile in London at the time, but he had resolved to return to Russia to lead protests against the Putin regime. On Monday, March 28, 2022, Bill Browder and his wife had dinner with Kara-Murza and his wife in London. Browder pleaded with Kara-Murza not to return to Russia, warning that he might not make it out alive. Kara-Murza told Browder he had a duty to the people of Russia, saying, quote, "All Russians should stand up to Putin, but how can I ask others to do that if I'm too afraid to return to my own country? I must be there." And so in the thick of war, Vladimir Kara-Murza returned to Russia a week later, on Tuesday, April the 5th. I spoke with Kara-Murza on this show on Sunday, April 10th, 2022. He again condemned Putin and the war. I asked if he was worried for his safety, and he told me a version of what he told Browder less than 2 weeks earlier in London. Are you worried about speaking out against the Russian government and against this war and invasion from Russia?
We all know the price. We all know the cost. But we also know that there are millions of people in Russia who categorically oppose Putin regime and everything it's doing. I'm a Russian politician. Russia is my country. Russia is my home. And this is where I have to be.
Vladimir Kara-Murza was arrested by Russian authorities the very next day. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison for so-called high treason. After spending 2.5 years in prison, he was released in an historic prisoner exchange orchestrated by the Biden administration on August the 1st, 2024. Kara-Murza said when the guards came to fetch him from the Siberian prison, he thought he was being led to his execution. It wasn't until he was moved to Moscow that he realized he was being freed with 23 other prisoners. On August 11th, just over a week after Kara-Murza was released, he and Browder sat down for dinner once again, a meal that they probably never expected to have. Browder tweeted this photo, saying in part, "In a world with so much bad news, yesterday I celebrated the freedom and survival of my dear friend. Last night we had a huge feast to get some calories into him and plan how we can free the many remaining political prisoners and help Ukraine definitively defeat Putin." Both Bill Browder and Vladimir Kara-Murza join me now. Browder is the CEO of Hermitage Capital Management. He's the head of the Global Magnitsky Justice Campaign and author of Freezing Order, a true story of Russian money laundering, murder, and surviving Vladimir Putin's wrath. Kara-Murza is a Russian opposition politician, is a Pulitzer Prize-winning contributing columnist to the Washington Post. Gentlemen, it is great to have you here. It's not often that the three of us get to talk together, so I'm very happy to see you. But I also needed to talk to you both because really nobody understands Vladimir Putin the way you do as two men who have been targeted by him. So, Vladimir, let me start with you. What do you make of what has happened in the last 36 hours, the meeting in Alaska and the discussions that are going on and the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin and sort of how that went down?
Well, hello, Ali. It's always a pleasure to be on your program. You know, during the countdown for that meeting in Anchorage a couple of days ago, I think a lot of people would have been forgiven for checking their calendars to see if it was 2025 or actually 1938, because what you had was, you know, two leaders meeting to essentially decide a fate of a sovereign democratic country in the middle of Europe without so much as asking for it. I think a lot of your viewers will remember the iconic archival footage of Mr. Chamberlain, the Prime Minister of Britain, waving that piece of paper, you know, saying that he brought peace for our time after giving up the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia to Adolf Hitler. And, you know, if there is one clear lesson from history, it is that you cannot achieve peace by appeasing an aggressor. You cannot achieve peace by rewarding somebody who's trying to grab other countries. And so it is very important what we've been hearing in the past few hours, that there will actually be not a bilateral Trump-Zelensky meeting in Washington that was originally announced, but that it would actually be a much larger meeting bringing together leaders of Western European nations, because I think it's been fairly clear over these past 6+ months that the United States of America, with its current administration, has relinquished the title of the leader of the free world, as has been known for many decades, in fact. And so this collective leadership of the free world essentially is now being passed to Europe. So this is a very, very important development indeed. But what I think we also have to say is that, you know, in a major sense, Vladimir Putin got everything he wanted from the meeting in Anchorage 2 days ago before he even set his foot on Alaskan soil. Because by the fact of the invitation itself, by the fact of the red carpet treatment, literally speaking, from an American president on American soil, he essentially got his ticket back into the international community as his bona fide participant, back from the international isolation his regime was rightfully subjected to after the criminal all-out invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022. Let's not forget that Vladimir Putin is an illegitimate usurper. He's not a legitimate president of Russia. He's not democratically elected. We haven't had a free election in Russia in more than 2 decades. And more than that, last year in 2024, Putin has overstepped in a complete mockery of any constitutional term limits enshrined in our basic law on the presidency. And this fact has actually been legally recognized by lawmakers across Europe, when both the European Parliament and the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe passed resolutions of an official policy of non-recognition of Vladimir Putin as the president of Russia, because he isn't. He's an illegitimate usurper. He's also an indicted war criminal. And the reason for the location of the meeting in Anchorage, not many people paid attention to this, but the reason is that Putin is paranoid to fly over the airspace of any country that would honor the arrest warrant issued against Vladimir Putin as an indicted war criminal in March of 2023. He's paranoid that his plane was going to be down and he was going to be brought to The Hague, where he belongs, just like former Serbian dictator Slobodan Milosevic was more than 2 decades ago, to stand trial for all the crimes he has committed. And this is why Alaska, because it's only a short, 60-mile flyover from the Russian Far East to the U.S. state of Alaska without touching the airspace of any other country. And so Putin's biggest victory was the meeting itself. And for a regime such as Putin, a regime that lacks any sort of democratic legitimacy, for a regime that lacks any basis in law, for a regime that is headed by an indicted war criminal with an active arrest warrant, the very fact of standing next to the President of the United States on a red carpet, again, literally on American soil, was a major victory for Putin. And frankly, it was something that was very shameful to do for the United States of America, in my view.